Dylan with CT Aquatics, and today we're going to be unboxing and putting together this Gryphon Aqua Saw XL. So to start, I'm just going to use my scalpel and cut open the tape on the box. So I haven't even unboxed this myself yet, haven't used it, but it seems like it's a pretty good product, and a lot of people that use a frag saw use this specific one. So just cut the tape, and now I'm going to pull the parts out of the box. So just a panel here, cardboard that's garbage. This is the motor, I believe, and the body of the saw with instructions and some other parts inside. So I'm going to get the box off the table. Okay, so now we've got our parts, and I'm just going to pull, I think this is the motor. I'm just going to unbox this part. Alright, so we've got the motor. This is our base plate for cutting on, and then this is the main body, and inside we've got our instructions. Looks like advertisement for some other products. This is some instructions for how to preserve the blade and the device from the saltwater. Comes with some parts like sponges, some screws, and here's the blade. Alright, so now I'm going to start putting the saw together. To start, the instructions say to remove the pieces of tape that are on the adjustment screw, but to not adjust the adjustment screw as they preset it in the factory. Next, you're going to take the motor housing and you're going to slide it into the top holes and let it come all the way down as far as it will go, and it's going to be resting on top of the adjustment screw. Now, I know this is backwards, but there's a cover plate on this side and it just slides off. It looks like this. We're just going to pull that straight up. And now we can start to install our blade. To start, I am going to turn this around so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Now I'm going to take the package that contains the blade and I'm going to open that up. It comes in this nice yellow tin. You can just open that up. And then you're going to drop the blade into your hand. Now, the recommended way to uncoil the blade is to just grab a section of it between your thumb and finger and to lightly shake it, it says. This doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot. But you don't want to kink it, so you just got to be very careful as you uncoil it. I am going to pull on it a little bit. There we go. Eventually, just flopping it around should get it to come like this. So now, with the diamond coated face going forward, I'm going to drop it in and under the bottom wheel and make sure that it aligns onto the wheel. At this point, it says to pull the blade up towards the 9 o'clock position. So I have it on the side of the wheel right at 9 o'clock. And then to just start spinning the upper wheel. This should walk the blade onto that upper wheel. And now, as you can see, as I spin it, the blade is firmly in place on the saw. And now all I have to do is slide this top cover back into place. So the next step after we've gotten the blade on is to install the blade guide. So the bottom one on this saw already came installed, but I'm just going to install the upper one, which comes in the bag of parts. So I'm going to open the bag of parts, and it's going to be this piece right here. It's gray, and it has the blade guide built into it. And all you have to do is simply slide it right up behind the blade, and your blade's going to fall into it. So now you've got a blade guide on the bottom and a blade guide at the top. So now we have to install the sponges. These sponges are in order to help absorb water so that there's clean water constantly on the blade, and it's going to keep the blade cool in order to help control the temperature of the cut and not burn our coral. So one of the pieces is going to slide in the front here, right next to the blade. And the other piece is going to slide in under the wheel. And this is going to help to clean off the blade as it passes through the water in the bottom of the reservoir. And then once you have your sponges in place, all that's left to do is install your cutting tray, which should just slide in from the front, and it will lock in once it hits the back of the saw. And now you have a flat surface to be able to cut your coral on. So now we're ready to test the bandsaw. So before I even put any water into it, I just want to make sure that it is running properly. So I'm going to plug it in, and there's a switch right here on the back, and I'm just going to turn it on. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. So now I'm going to remove this bottom tray, and I'm going to pour some reverse osmosis water into the reservoir. Again, this is used to help rinse the coral and also keep the coral cool as you're cutting it. All right, so now that there's water in it, I'm just gonna let it run, and you should see some water starting to coat the blade. I don't know how well you'll actually see it, but you should see some drops starting to, oh yeah. I put the sponge in the wrong spot a second time. Now I know why it's here. It's meant to prevent splashing. Not perfect, but much better. So now this thing is ready to cut some coral. So I'm gonna grab a frag, and I'm gonna frag my first coral on the saw. All right, so right now I'm just preparing some water from the tank with some iodine as an antiseptic, which will help to keep the coral healthy after cutting it. So I know you probably can't see that in the shot, but just put some Brightwell's Lugol's in here until it's like a little tea color. That's what I'm gonna use to dip the coral once I'm done fragging it. And today, we're just gonna frag this Blue Raven Blastomusa. I pulled it out of the tank, it's closed up, and now I'm just gonna start cutting it. And I'm not gonna cut this into, there's a lot of heads on here, I'm not gonna cut it into like 100 heads, but I am just gonna cut this into like 3 or 4 colonies. So here's one piece, it's got a bunch of heads on it. Here's our next piece. Again, I'm just trying to follow the structure of the polyps to kill as few polyps as possible. And I think I can get one more good cut out of this piece. And there we go. What's great about this saw is it doesn't have any actual teeth on it, it just has diamonds. So if you touch it with your finger, as you can see I'm doing here, it's not actually gonna cut you. I wouldn't recommend pushing your thumb into it super hard, but if you do hit yourself, it's not gonna hurt you. It's very safe. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. You saw us unbox and set up this Gryphon diamond bandsaw, and we cut some coral on it. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications to join us on our journey through the sea.